Hag Sameach, Moedim L'Simcha. Welcome to our sukkah. Come on in, have a seat. You know, it might seem very normal that I'm sitting here in my sukkah during Sukkot, but if we think about it for a second, this is actually a very strange mitzvah. We're told that we have to move out of our permanent dwelling, come out of our house, and move everything into a hut for a whole week of our lives. This is very strange. We get a little consolation from the fact that the Torah itself does give us a reason for this mitzvah. And it says, Lema'an yedu dortechen, in order that you should know for all generations. Ki b'Sukkot hashafti et b'nei Yisrael, I caused, Hashem is speaking, I caused the Jewish people, b'nei Yisrael, to rest in Sukkot, v'hotzeti otam me'eretz Mitzrayim, as I took them out of the land of Egypt. Well, this starts to help us, but it doesn't really get us there because, well, what's the reason that we're celebrating this? In order that for all generations we know that when we came out of Egypt, we slept in a sukkah. When you compare that to the miracles of Pesach that we celebrate, splitting of seas, fire and hail coming down from heaven, you know, that's the stuff of the Prince of Egypt, of movies, and the idea of, you know, Bnei Yisrael sleeping outside or walking outside and living in a sukkah probably didn't make the cut in the Prince of Egypt. It's not such an exciting thing. And as far as miracles that we're supposed to be celebrating for this Chag, one of the Shalosh Regalim, this is one of the big ones. Very strange that just the fact that we dwelt in Sukkot in the desert would be the reason for it. Where else are we going to dwell? What is going on here? The Midrash attempts to get a little bit of a deeper understanding of really what the Sukkah is actually about. Strangely, there's a machloket there. There's two different opinions as to what the essence of the Sukkah is about and what it is that we're really celebrating. Rabbi Akiva explains as follows. Rabbi Akiva says that we're celebrating the Ananei Kavod, the clouds of glory that escorted the Jewish people through the desert for 40 years. This was their portable air conditioner, so they didn't get too hot, they didn't get sunburned, they were able to live in the desert. But even more than that, something very powerful, this was a tangible revelation of Hashem's presence in their midst. Now we're talking, this is some miracle that I can really get into. However, Rabbi Eliezer says, no, they were Sukkot mamash. They just dwelled in Sukkot, and they dwelled in booths, and that is exactly what it is that we're celebrating. So for Rabbi Akiva's position, this makes a lot of sense. We're celebrating the revelation of Hashem upon the Jewish people, and here now the ability to appreciate that and reconnect to that. But for Rabbi Eliezer, what would be the reason that the whole holiday would be based on Sukkot mamash? The Rashbam, Rashi's grandson, the great Torah commentator, picks up the Shita of Rabbi Eliezer and explains it as follows. The bottom line is this: remember your humble roots. Remember where you came from. That you were a group of dwellers, of people that were dwelling in the desert for 40 years. And when you came into Eretz Yisrael, to the land that Hashem gave you, only at that point did you have this land of milk and honey, all this produce and grains. By the way, Sukkot is also Hag HaAsif. This is a time of gathering. So the people in Eretz Yisrael would have all this tremendous fruit and vegetables and produce, and their cupboards would be full. At your time, when the cupboards are most full and you have all of this shefa, all of this sustenance, that's a time to remember your humble roots and your humble beginnings as a nomadic people. Don't forget where you came from, says Rabbi Eliezer. Don't forget your humble roots. Now, we're one of the few generations in all the generations of the Jewish people that actually get the opportunity to taste what this machloket is really about, to taste what this discussion is really about. Not always, even in the land of Israel, the modern state of Israel, was the abundant as it is today. My wife has a cousin whose name is Tamar, or Marta, and she came from Eastern Europe. She went through the Holocaust. She went through a work camp during her time in Eastern Europe. And only in the 1950s was she able to, her with the remaining members of her family, to be able to come to Eretz Yisrael. Well, they moved to Eretz Yisrael, and the amount of food that they got every week was quite minimal. Everything was rationed. A little bit of bread, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of milk, only the bare minimum. Today, to contrast that, we have the opportunity to walk into Machane Yehuda, to the Shuk, and it's just so much abundance and shefa and cheese and meat and vegetables and fruit and everything that you can imagine is there, just waiting for us. There's so much abundance. So Rabbi Eliezer would be telling us, when you see all this abundance, when you come back to Eretz Yisrael after 2,000 years of wandering the face of the earth, remember your humble beginnings and remember the source.